Ah, is this sweet? I can't tell.
Alright, so I'm here. I'm going to do my top 10 albums of 2015. So, started off at number 10. I got Korpiklani with Noita. This album is a really good folk metal album. I'm not even going to bother try to announce or pronounce half the names of the songs on this album, but with songs like Limpo and a couple other songs like that, it's just good folk metal. I think Korpiklani does pure folk metal a lot better than most bands, and this album just has energy, it jams, it's mixed really well, and it's just a fun album to listen to. And so, which is a lot of the reasons why it made it on my top 10 was that, it's just, you can't help but smile when you're listening to Korpiklani or listening to this album. But then, number 9, I have Kamelot with Haven. Again, this album didn't sit all that well with me the first time. I liked it. It was pretty good. It was on my top 5 albums in the beginning of the year. But, I had a lot of problems with this album when I first listened to it. And then going back through and listening to all the albums that I listened to this year, and when I got to this one, I found out a lot of things that I really liked about it. At first I really didn't like the mix, and now looking back, I kind of do like the mix. Especially with the guitar tone. The guitar tone has enough bite to it where it can get heavy, but then at the same time it can be melodic and sound nice. And kind of the same thing, they fixed, with their last album, the orchestration and the synthesizers were really loud, whereas this time around it's, much quieter. With songs like End of Innocence, Under the Gray Skies, Rebellion, Liar Liar is another great song. There's a lot of good, epic, fucking symphonic metal on this album. And yeah, I've been jamming this album a lot more because I kind of forgot about it until, again, I was looking back, and I've actually, after the fact, really liking this album. Number 8, I have Battlecross, Rise to Power. This is an album that I liked when it came out, and then it was a cool album, and it's still a really cool album, and I thought very highly of it, and then I kind of forgot that it happened shortly after. I don't know if it was other stuff going on at the time. I know, there was things like a lot of other albums were coming out around that time, and different other things were happening in my life, like school and whatnot. But I kind of forgot a lot of this album. But going back, this album, again, it sounds great. Battlecross is some of the most unique sounding songs I've ever heard. A nice weird combination between thrash metal and more extreme, almost death metal, and then they write what the fuck they want to write. If they want to write a part of a song that kind of sounds like a 50s rock song, I think they do in the last song on the album, they do that. Songs of course, Not Your Slave, and there's a bunch of other songs like that. I kind of forgot, so I came back and I listened to this album. But again, this album jams. This album's heavy, it's fast, and again, I wanted to keep listening to this, but other albums happen, and I've been listening to a lot of other stuff. But it's still a fantastic album. I would definitely check it out. Number 7, I have Blind Guardian, Beyond the Red Mirror. Another album that at first I liked and I thought it was good, but I had a couple problems with. And I think it was another situation of, after I saw the band live, I kind of got a new respect for their music, and I went back and I listened to this album, and this album's a lot of fun to listen to. Of course, songs like The Ninth Wave, Twilight of the Gods, and songs like that. Like the mix, I still feel is a bit of a problem on this album, but it's not as much of a hindrance as I originally thought it was. And I just love the songwriting of this album. It's epic and it's just fun. It's power metal, and I'm a huge power metal fan. So I mean, just the fact that it is power metal gives a lot of stock to it. But like, no power metal band sounds like Blind Guardian, and I think that's a good thing because they're just a fun band to listen to. Number 6, I have Venom, Bullet for My Valentine. The more I listen to this album, the more I like it. This was an album that definitely came as a surprise because I didn't have a lot of hopes for it when it came out. I was like, it sounds cool, but it just might not. I'm not getting my hopes up. I kind of was hopeful with Temper that maybe they would just a couple bad eggs, and then that album ended up being one of the worst albums I've ever heard. But this album is fun, with No Way Out, Army of Noise, If You Want a Battle, Here's a War, Hell or High Water, Venom, the song, Raising Hell, which is a bonus track. It's Bullet getting back to what Bullet does, which is these metalcore songs that maybe have a little bit of a rock influence instead of being a rock album that has a lot of metal influence. And again, like I said, I was like, this album's okay, but then I listened to it a lot more, and I'm like, wow, I really, really like this album. So, yeah, Bullet, number 6. Now we're getting to my top 5. Number 5, this album had a huge drop in terms of my listing, but there's a lot of good albums that come up above it. That's Ensiferum, One Man Army. This was halfway through the year my favorite album to come out, but and it still is a great album. Songs like The Axe of Judgment is a great opening song. One Man Army again is the title track is great. Warrior Without a War is a really cool song, especially the chorus. I really like the chorus of that song. And then Cry for the Earthbound is another awesome song. I just think that this album is still great. I still love this album, and I still even like Two of Spades a little bit. The song's weird, it's goofy, but I'm usually into that kind of shit. So it's like, this album's still good. It's just that literally, except for one album on my list, every other album is stuff that came out since then. So, yeah. Number 4, I have Lamb of God, Storm and Drang. 7, Storm and Drang. This album, again, was another album that after it came out, I was like, wow, this is my favorite album to come out this year. Songs like Delusion Pandemic, which is probably one of my favorite songs that Lamb of God's ever put out. Embers, Overlord, Anthropoid is another good song from that album. Fuck. Still Echoes. Yeah, that's the name of the song. And it's just an awesome album. Lamb of God is a very tight band, and another band that's unique. Nobody sounds like Lamb of God, and they've got some of the most talented people in all of metal working with them. With Randy Blythe is the singer, Chris Adler on drums, who's, in my opinion, probably the best drummer in all of metal. It's just, there's just a lot this band has going for it, and this album's different. The song Overlord is enough to warrant this album being different. Lamb of God's never done anything like that before, like a ballad, which I think is, which is cool that they're even 15, 20 years, 20 plus years into being a band, they're growing still. They're still coming up with new things. Number 3, I have Iron Maiden, Book of Souls. Again, this was an album that kind of from the get-go I knew was going to be in my top 3 when I listened to it. it's Iron Maiden doing what Iron Maiden does best, which is writing really great songs that are both melodic, upbeat, and being just taking a formula of what they do good, and they do it very well, and making an awesome album, and making a double album out of it, which is even better. You know, If Eternity Should Fail is an awesome opening track. The Speed of Light is a jammer that reminds me so much of like stuff from like Power Slave. The Red and the Black is probably my favorite song from this album. The title track, Book of Souls, and there's Empire of the Clouds, Shadows of the Valley, and a lot of these songs are fucking long. It's cool that Iron Maiden can still write these awesome, really long, epic songs, when they're into their 50s and 60s as a band. That's awesome. It's cool that even with again, where metal is going towards the more extreme variants of metal, that this classic heavy metal band can still keep up with everything that's happening, which is awesome. Number 2, I have Gloryhammer. Space 1992, Rise of the Chaos Wizards. Again, I love power metal, so I don't think it comes to as much of a shock that I have a power metal album as my second favorite album to come out this year. But it's everything that you liked about Tales from the Kingdom of Fife, but better. The two, I guess, because they're kind of both title tracks, the Rise of the Chaos Wizards and there's a Space 1992, are both two great songs. I also, Legends of the Astral Hammer is a fun song to listen to, and then probably, without giving too much of a spoiler, one of my favorite songs to come out this year, the Quest Lords of Inverness Ride, is on this album. It's epic, it's fucking corny, it's fast, it's technical, it's everything that you would want from a power metal album. I think that I knew this album when it came out was going to be good. I just did not expect it to be this good. And then number 1 is an album that was almost number 1 on my list originally when we did our top 5s at the middle of the year. And that's Visigoth, The Revenant King. Another album where I liked it from the get-go, but then even then, the more I listened to it, this album fucking grew on me to the point where if I don't know what to listen to, I'm putting on this album. I'm putting on The Revenant King. It's classic heavy metal and power metal, and then, with songs like From the Arcane Mists of Prophecy and Mammoth Rider, a little bit of doom metal in there. It's a hodgepodge of some of the best stuff that you can find in metal. And this band represents something that I really like about a lot of bands, which is the fact that their riffs aren't the most technical things you'll ever hear, but it doesn't matter because the songwriting is awesome. This album jams. It doesn't matter that songs like From the Arcane Mists of Prophecies and the title track, The Revenant King, are 8+ minutes long. You don't notice it because the songs are just so well written and they just go. Sometimes when bands write these really long songs, or even some bands that just write songs, sometimes they just feel like they drag on and on. Whereas Visigoth's taken it and they write amazing songs. Again, Mammoth Rider, The Iron Brotherhood, again, the title track, From the Arcane Mists of Prophecy, Dungeon Master. They did a cover of Necropolis on here, which is awesome. And then another song that I really like is Creatures of Desire. It's classic heavy metal, but it keeps up. It's just fun. And I think more so than not, that what kind of determines my list is how much fun I have listening to an album. And this is probably the most fun album for me to listen to that I've experienced all year. So, yeah, those are my top 10 albums, 2015. Let me know what you think of my list. Tell me how fucking stupid I am for not putting XYZ technical death metal album as my album of the year and shit like that. And, tell me what your album of the year is. Why not? I want to hear it. I want to know what everybody's top 10 albums of the year are. So, yeah. Bye.